p.m. Eastern, which means it is 12 o'clock here local time. Back to my normal schedule, my regularly scheduled live streams, which I try to do every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. When I'm traveling, when I'm taking part in different Masonic events, then I tend not to do them as often. But I'm here now. I'm back. I'm done my first aid training. Thank you, by the way, to Winnipeg First Aid, which was a excellent couple days of training. I've argued before, and you can find where I've made those arguments, that I think all Freemasons, certainly Freemasons who are in a leadership position within Lodge, should themselves have first aid training. You never want to be in a situation where something bad is happening in Lodge. Somebody's having whatever it is they're having, heart attack, stroke, and you want to know that somebody there, hopefully at least a couple people, have first aid. I've been asking people lately to describe Freemasonry with one word. In case anybody's curious, I'm going to give you guys the list of words I've got in a second. One word I just got that was super interesting is baseball. Someone used the word baseball to describe Freemasonry. And I'm curious because I don't know why they picked baseball and didn't say. Although I will say there have been Masonic baseball teams in the past, and the Grand Lodge of California Freemasons are heavily involved with charitable efforts and are partnered with Major League Baseball teams. So maybe that's where we got it from. One word is occult. Thank you, Douglas. I'm going to add that to the list. And thank you, for being here, Douglas. I hope you're doing well. I don't know if you were with us yesterday when we were watching the fireworks, but if you did join our stream, I hope that you had a great time. And if not, check out our live stream recap. It's on YouTube right now. And I like the fact that you picked the word occult. By the way, the word occult, I think it's important for people to remember, is not in and of itself a positive word, nor is it a negative word. Rather, it just refers to hidden. And there are some elements of Freemasonry that you could argue are hidden or private. So yeah, I'm doing great headed to the Cheesecake Factory. You're making me jealous. What's your go-to order at the Cheesecake Factory? And can you pick me up some cheesecake and send it my way? If you just ship it in, you'll be fine. By the way, I had a record number of new subscribers join my channel in June of this year, so thank you so much for that. Hopefully in July we'll set another record. Veggie burger. So I should go for the veggie burger if I ever hit up Cheesecake Factory. That is a good piece of advice. I'm keeping that in the gonna keep that in the vault or in the memory banks. I don't know the last time I've even been to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if I've ever actually even been there at all, to be honest with you. Which I don't even know if there's any in Canada. Now I'm curious. Well, I like cheesecake. Like, I'm a big cheesecake fan. My favorite type of dessert, though, is pie. Blueberry pie, apple pie, peach pie. Any type of pie. Pie with coffee. That's the best combination of Okay, so there's locations in Ontario. Let's see. Trying to figure out where Cheesecake Factory is. Thank you, Douglas. I appreciate you as well, and thank you for being here. I hope that you had a great day yesterday. I hope that you had a great Canada Day. Hope that you're looking forward to 4th of July. I hope that whatever other things we're celebrating, you are celebrating. Hello, Courtney. Thank you for being here as well. I hope that you're doing well. I don't know if you joined us yesterday for the live stream or if you saw it after the fact. I know you commented on it though, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for being here. In case anybody's curious, might as well go through the list now. Describe one word or describe Freemason with one word. Here's the words I got so far. I'm at 34. So I'm 16 words away from my goal of 50. We've got collaboration, brotherhood 4 times, architecture, mysticism, paradoxical, creator, GAOTU. We got light 2 times, community, fellowship, care, money, privilege, camaraderie, brother, way of life, fight, pathway, enlightening, chill, freedom, fraternity, shine, curious, gay, which was an interesting word, virtue, Satanism, no, which I assume you're just saying no to the question, but I'm counting it as the word itself, baseball, and occult. So there are the words so far. And by the way, now that we're done with Canada Day, next up we have 4th of July. And as many people know, if you've watched this stream or seen any of my channels in the past, you know that Freemasonry and the American history are also significantly intertwined. Famously, several of the founding fathers were themselves Freemasons. Several presidents have been Freemasons. Depending who you ask, the last one could have been Joe Biden. The last one is more than likely actually Gerald Ford, if I recall correctly. First one being George Washington. So there's a lot of really interesting and really fascinating elements that connect Freemasonry to American history. I definitely want to share some of those on my channel, so please make sure when you get the chance to check out the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It was. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was really beautiful. Assiniboia Downs did a great job, despite the fact that we were, dealing with all sorts of rain and thunder and lightning, so they had to cancel the horse racing. They still had fireworks, and they were pretty incredible. And by the way, I'm still here in Winnipeg, but tomorrow, I'm actually in Winnipeg as well, but Friday I'll be flying out, hitting up Ottawa and then Montreal for some wrestling. Thank you, Black Raven. Take your calls, but I do appreciate you jumping on to hit the like button, and I do appreciate you being here, but absolutely take your calls. It is still, though, wonderful to have you join, even for a couple minutes. I said, I don't know how many people saw the fireworks display live, but I've posted some stuff online of it, including the like and subscribe button. Anne Marie Penny, bro, you or the bet? What's the bet? Anne Marie. I don't know what that means, but thank you for being here. And I do hope you will be so kind as to hit the like button and the subscribe button. And let me know how you're doing and if there's anything that you want to chat about. Any question about Freemasonry? That's why I do these streams. They're just hangout streams. We chat with people, ask how they're doing, and if there is anything that you want to talk about. But I do hope everybody, like where I am right now, I mean, not really. Actually, it's not a bad view. Maybe I'll take a picture of it before I go. BCW says hello. Welcome back, BCW. I hope that you're doing well. As always, please take a moment, hit the like button. Let me know how it's going. If there's anything that you want to chat about, any question about Freemasonry, any thoughts? If you can describe Freemasonry in one word, what word would you use? I'm still collecting those answers. But yeah, I'd love to know what your thoughts are and how your time is going. And do you have any plans for July 4th? And if you're a Mason, does your Masonic Lodge have any plans for July 4th? Taking part in a parade, taking part in a barbecue, all that type of fun stuff that you guys should be doing as part of a Masonic Lodge. Any chance to be in the public eye, I think, is very valuable. So I hope that some of you are taking advantage of it for the 4th of July. This isn't Masonic swag. This is wrestling swag. Wrestling United. This is from a wrestling promotion I worked with here in Winnipeg and had an absolute blast doing as well. Which I loved it, by the way. I loved being part of it. It was a lot of fun. I think you did. Hey, Dad, did you enjoy the show? Dad, did you enjoy the fireworks show?
Yes, it was good.
Yeah, Dad said it was good.
I
It
didn't
was.
get wet because I was in the color.
Well, he got wet at the end. Dad hit out when it started to really pour. He was under, but when we had to go back to the car, I think we all got pretty soaked at that point.
I missed out on not betting on horses.
No, yeah, we couldn't bet on horses because they had to cancel the horse racing because of thunder and lightning. But they maintained the fireworks, so that was nice. At least we got fireworks out of it, if nothing else.
Look at all the money you saved.
I don't know. I think I would have won. I think I would have won. We're going to give it a bit of time to see who else joins. I'm just sharing the stream with a few different people. Hello again, XX. I hope that it's going well for you, XX. I hope you're doing well. I hope you hit that like button. If you're not done so yet, hit the subscribe button, etc., etc. And let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you have one word to describe Freemasonry, whoever's jumped on. Let me know if you guys have any plans for Freemasonry or sorry, any plans for the 4th of July, whether or not that includes Masonic lodges. As I've talked about in the past, well, if he gets sued by Elon Musk, you'll probably be okay. I think he has a history of suing a lot of people. Um, in case anybody's curious, always better to be safe, right? With July 4th coming up, I am going to be doing some more posting, some more poll questions, asking questions about Freemasonry and U.S. history. In case people are curious, there have been 45 individuals who've been president. 15, including Lyndon B. Johnson, are known to have been Freemasons. The first to go through the list: George Washington, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, James Polk, James Buchanan, Andrew Johnson, James A. Garfield, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William H. Taft, Warren G. Harding, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, Lyndon B. Johnson, Gerald Ford. Ronald Reagan was made an honorary Freemason. Bill Clinton was a member of D. Molay. Joe Biden was declared a Master Mason on site at Prince Hall or by Prince Hall Grand Lodge, South Carolina. Whether it's considered official or not is one of those questions. I have no idea what you're referring, Combine. Let me see if I can find out. And by the way, if you're just joining us, hit the like button and the subscribe button. Let's see. He's a soccer player? Apparently, is the GOAT of Canadian soccer. Okay, see, I don't follow a lot of soccer. I did watch the Mousetrap movie. I don't know if you must have missed it. I watched it. I did a live stream of me watching it while I was at the airport waiting for my flight. It was pretty good. I didn't mind it at all. That's all right. There'll be more. There'll always be more. I do these live streams fairly regularly, so there will always be more. In the meantime, though, if you are just joining us, hit that like button and subscribe button. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about. Let me know if you have one word to describe Freemasonry. Tomorrow, I may have a more structured stream where I think what I'll do is I'll talk about a specific thing. In this case, I'll talk about some Canadian or some American connections to Freemasonry, American history and Freemasonry. Since we're coming to July 4th, it seems to me that makes a lot of sense. Sure. I mean, it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I can understand why it'd be one of your favorite movies. Or if your favorite movie, I should say. I've not seen Until Dawn yet. It's on my list. Saw 11. I don't know when that's coming out off the top of my head. Cherubim? Cherubim they're like mythological creatures. I think they're like little humans with wings, not angels. Um, right? It's like it goes to like a cherub, right? Which I usually think of as like younger beings with wings, usually almost like angels. Let's see. I just put it into Wikipedia. A cherub is a type of supernatural being in the Abrahamic religions. The numerous depictions of cherubim assigned to them many different roles, such as protecting the entrance of the Garden of Eden. In Jewish angelic hierarchy, cherubim have the ninth, second lowest rank in the Torah, and the third rank in Kabbalistic works, such as Berit. The Christian work, I can't pronounce any of these names, places them in the highest rank alongside seraphim and thrones. No worries, X. Thank you for joining, even for a couple. We will be back on doing more of these streams in the coming days as well. I'm going to try to do one tonight again to keep up the habit, and then one tomorrow as well. Friday, I'll be back to traveling, so I won't have a stream then, but it should still be a lot of fun. And I do want to say thank you to everybody who um, subscribed. I got a record number of subscribers in June. Hopefully, that will continue through, and we'll get another record number of subscribers in July. That would be wonderful as well. And a record number in August, and a record number in September. See if we can keep the record numbers going. And I hope that everybody did have a good time as well. If you were joining me watching the live streamed Canada Day fireworks at Assiniboia Downs. And I hope if you are from Canada, you had a great Canada Day, and you keep in mind the amazing connections we in Canada have with Freemasonry, or that Freemasonry has with Canada, I should say. 6 of our Prime Ministers have been Freemasons. 11 of the Fathers of Confederation have been Freemasons. Our first Prime Minister was a Freemason. The last one to be a Freemason was John Diefenbaker. Saw 10, 11. Oh, that's too bad. So I guess it'll come out 2026. I liked Saw 10 a lot, so I'm assuming I'll enjoy Saw 11 also. Welcome if you're just joining us. Let's give it a bit of time. Let's see if anyone else jumps in the chat. This is an Ask Us Anything stream, just hanging out here in Winnipeg, loving being in Winnipeg. And yeah, we were celebrating the history of Canada and Freemasonry, which is pretty awesome. And now, come July 4th, we can celebrate the history of Freemasonry in America, which in and of itself is pretty fascinating. Not just in Britain, Courtney. There are separate Freemason lodges for women all around the world. Um, the Order of Women Freemasons is a growing Masonic order, and a great one. I think it's a wonderful Masonic order. There are Freemason lodges for women in Ontario. There are Freemason lodges for women in different parts of America. In Colorado, I just learned, which is great to see. Hopefully it keeps growing rapidly. That's the goal, right? And welcome if you're just joining us. I hope you take a moment to hit the like button and the subscribe button. I hope everybody is doing well and having a great Canada Day week moving into the 4th of July. But yeah, it's awesome to see more subscribers in June than any other month thus far. And let's hope that it keeps going through to July. So if you want to help me out with that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know how it's going. Help me out by taking part in some of the different initiatives I have, like give me one word to describe Freemasonry. Tell me what your plans are um, for July 4th, all that type of good stuff. We're just going to give it a bit of time. Let's see if anyone else joins. And if you want to chat about Freemasonry, like I said, this is one of those kind of ask us anything, just hang out streams, which I love to do. One thing I do want to talk about tomorrow, though, to go back to more specific topics, is Freemasonry and American history. There's a lot there. So it's not something we could cover in a single live stream or several, but there is some fascinating historical connections. Maybe we could focus on one specific Freemason, like George Washington, talk about his Masonic history, and maybe some of the ways in which his Masonic career, Masonic ideals influenced the way that he approached governance, the way he approached the founding of America. Right? It's not going to be exclusive. Like, people are complicated, and there's no such thing. Like, one thing I hate is when people will say, this person was a Freemason, therefore everything he did or every idea he had connects to Freemasonry, right? I don't believe that is the case at all. People are complicated, and Freemasonry is only one part of their life, but that doesn't mean that Freemasonry, by the same token, will have no impact on how people think or the extent to which, Freemasonry shapes their decision making. And so, yeah, and also the Freemasonry of the time, right? Because Freemasonry changes so much. The Freemasonry that George Washington experienced is going to be somewhat different than the Freemasonry I experience, and different than the Freemasonry that exists 200 years from now. But that doesn't mean there aren't commonalities and similarities and things that we can't learn. But we're just going to wait to see who else jumps in the chat, who else says hello, and we'll go from there. That is some good Canadian cuisine. I mean, I'm honestly not a big fan of poutine. I'm one of the exceptions. I like butter tarts because they're basically just mini pies, mini pecan pies. Smoked meat is always great. I'm going to be in Ottawa, and I'm going to be trying some smoked meat for sure. So that's going to be really good.
But a young lady comes back into my life.
What is happening? Something just popped up on the computer there. Here, let's do this as a poll question for the time being. Do you have any July 4th plans? Yes or no? I could ask, does your lodge have any July 4th plans, which I'd love to know as well. But for now, do you have any July 4th plans? And if you say yes, please let me know what they are. I'd love to know. I hope that everybody is doing well, though. I hope that you got the chance to join me last night for our live stream of the fireworks. And if you didn't, I hope that you get to watch them back. And I also hope that you do have some July 4th plans, spending it with friends, family, brethren. I'm just going to wait to see. See if there's anything happening on Google, which will say for July 4th Masonic plans. July 4th Masonic plans. Gila Valley Lodge in 2019 talked about this. The Freemasonry's, and I want to say the Freemason influence on the Declaration of Independence and the American Revolution. That's a really good question, Rondo, and thank you so much for joining, by the way. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. So the lodges themselves would have been chartered originally under the United Grand Lodge of England. I'm going to Google this. Did UGLE recognize? So, like, Washington would have been initially a Mason under the auspices of the UGLE, I believe, depending on when he joined. He joined before America was America, right? And so I don't think he would be considered clandestine. I think he would, in theory, if he had lost, he could have been brought up on Masonic charges for, I guess, like treason. So the United Grand Lodge of England did not recognize American lodges in the immediate aftermath of the American Revolution. While some American lodges had been formed under English warrants before the Revolution, yeah, Virginia, I know for sure. Frederickson sounds right. UGLE did not extend recognition of them after the war's conclusion, primarily due to the conflict and the subsequent establishment of American Grand Lodges. So I guess he would have been considered clandestine at that point under under UGLE, whether or not that would have extended to being clandestine under like other jurisdictions. I mean, I'm sure the Grand Orient would have still recognized them. And there was the striking of rules. So I guess he potentially would have been considered a clandestine Mason for a moment. George Washington Masonic Lodge. So, I mean, not no. A lot of Grand Lodges use UGLE as like their guide, but they don't set the standard. I mean, there is no standard, right? One of the things about Freemasonry is every Masonic jurisdiction sets its own rules, and that includes sets their own rules for recognition and who they do and do not recognize. Certainly, like the Grand Orient, I don't think would take notes from UGLE. So a lot of, even in modern times, a lot of Grand Lodges will say, look, if UGLE recognizes it, then we'll recognize it as well, or we'll recognize that jurisdiction too. But by and large, what I find is every lodge kind of sets their own rules in that regard. They take advice from the Committee of Recognition and from the Council of Grand Masters, but those are just advisory bodies. At the end of the day, the jurisdictions themselves decide. But if you look at, like, I'm trying to think of an example, like Grand Lodge of Israel or Lodge Holy Land, the Grand Lodge of Israel, their rule is they will recognize anybody that is recognized by UGLE. So you see that a lot where lodges will defer to what UGLE recognizes, but it's not required. And there are some times where, again, certainly amongst the liberal side of it in Freemasonry, you have more different types of recognition. What's going on? I hope everybody watching this is doing well. I hope you all have some 4th of July plans. If you do, let me know what those plans are. How can lodges actively engage and retain members in the digital age or coming challenges such as... So, I think the digital age absolutely provides some pretty unique challenges in terms of our ability to maintain engagement. And I like where you say engagement because that's the key, right? I don't know if the digital is the issue as it relates to an inability to get new members. I think digital is more deals with an inability to engage or retain the membership we currently have. The biggest issue is, like, one of the reasons you join a Masonic Lodge is to make friends. Digital technology gives you the ability to feel like you've made friends or you're keeping up with your friends without ever needing to see them in person. You can just follow their Facebook statuses, right? Which takes away one of the reasons you may want to come to a lodge. I mean, 50, 60, 70 years ago, if you wanted to know how Bob is doing, you could either go visit him in person and hope he's home, or you go to your Masonic Lodge where he's at and you talk to him there. The digital age means you can kind of just follow people on Facebook and get that sense of camaraderie. In theory, that does not in and of itself relate to meeting with people. So I think that's a really challenging thing, and I have some ideas as to that. But going back to what Rondo said, let's not be blowing anything up. Um, as Rondo points out, imagine a 80-year-old past master trying to imagine a 20-year-old past master trying to moderate a Discord server. Those things are not easy to moderate at the best of times. Um, which is another problem too, right? It's like, so you could say to yourself, okay, we need to get Freemasonry more involved in the digital space, but a lot of the older Masons, the 80-year-old past masters, as Rondo points out, do not themselves want to be part of newer technologies, which is what makes it so challenging. Yeah, I agree. Imagine anyone trying to monitor Discord server. It would not be easy. Isn't where is it? Isn't the UGLO ones who set the standard? Again, they don't have to be the ones who set the standard. A lot of lodges defer to them, but if there is a standard, it would be set, certainly in North America, by the Committee of Recognition, as well as the Conference of Grand Masters in North America. Those are kind of what set the standard, but again, they're advisory bodies only, so they don't get the final say. The final say is jurisdictional. There you go. You're going to blow up the sky with fireworks. That is awesome. I'm sure they're going to be great. Always be careful. Don't be losing fingers. You need all of those, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome. I actually live streamed some fireworks yesterday from here in Winnipeg, which was awesome. Congratulations to Assiniboia Downs. So yeah, and I also live streamed the fireworks from where was it? From my place, from the Ford fireworks, the Detroit Windsor fireworks together. So fireworks are awesome. I hope that you have a great time doing it. I think the same way you apply it to ways that it's been interpreted all the time, right? It's through Masonic education. It's through trying to find, like, the core principles never change, right? So the idea of like being on the level, that doesn't change whether you are a Mason 100 years ago or a Mason today. It's about being fair and honest, and that stuff, the nature of that symbolism is not going to change. But I think the way you talk about it is going to change. You can take advantage of more technological presentations. You can rely more on anything from PowerPoint to video presentations, things of that nature, right? Welcome, Red Squid. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. Smokey DeClown. I've been doing well. I'm here visiting Winnipeg, which is always fun. It's great to be back home. All is well. Let me know, Red Squid. Do you have any plans for July 4th? Same thing. I know we know Smokey's plan. He's blowing up some fireworks, so that's awesome. Is it like something you do with your family, something you do with friends? Which Grandmaster's message, Courtney? I don't know if I read that one yet, but I'd love to know what it is so I can read it. I don't know if there is a magic elixir. I mean, it's aside from hard work and patience, which are the magic elixirs to almost everything in life. I don't necessarily know if there is another magic elixir that we could find, unfortunately. By the way, June 2025, I should give a shout out and congratulations to the Grand Lodge of Ireland, which is today, or this month, or I guess technically last month, June of 2025. In June 25, celebrated 300th anniversary. It first met June 24th, 1725. June 24th is a pretty important day for Freemasonry. That's also the Feast of St. John. That's also the date at which the premier Grand Lodge of England was formed, as well as the date in which Ben Franklin became the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania. So 300 years of Freemasonry in Ireland, 308 years of Freemasonry in England. congratulations to the Grand Lodge of Ireland. Thank you, Smokey. I agree, that is pretty awesome. I think tomorrow what I'm going to talk about is Freemasonry and George Washington. Or even more, perhaps important, Grand Masters of North America. I would have to read that. I haven't read that yet, so I'm not sure. But I don't know if there is a magic elixir, unfortunately. I wish that there was. I think every Mason wishes that there was at this point. But if we could find a magic elixir, it'd be great to have. Any plans for July 4th? Yes, 50%, no, 50%. Well, we're not founded in Ireland, but we've been in Ireland for 300 years. We're founded in England, or I guess some would argue, in fact, which is a whole other can of tuna, that we're actually founded in Scotland in the 16th, 15th century. But for our purposes, we'll say we're founded in England, but Ireland was close behind. A lot of lodges actually are dry. They don't allow alcohol on the premise. It just depends on which jurisdiction you're in. In Texas, for example, that is the case. In in England, it's not the case. In Ontario, it's not the case. In Illinois, it is the case, but there's different ways that lodges get around that by forming like social clubs and groups. So it really depends. What are some of the potential benefits and drawbacks of incorporating? That's a whole question. I mean, there are a lot more potential benefits, I think, than drawbacks. Certainly, the ability to communicate with brethren over long distances, the ability to bring in guest speakers over long distances that you would not otherwise be able to do. Right? There are a lot of Masonic benefits to it. The ability to do presentations and multimedia, the ability to make lodges more interesting. Right? There's a ton of really interesting and really exciting lodge benefits, right? The drawbacks, it's just about your ability to work with the equipment, to know how it operates. That can be challenging because if you don't know what you're doing and you try to do a presentation using digital tools and it fails, it can leave a bad taste in people's mouth. So there is that. But beyond that, I think there's far more benefits. I think I would love to see lodges go to a combination of both in-person and virtual or digital meetings and incorporating way more digital tools. Certainly, like the incorporation of email is an example of something that's been helpful. Easier to communicate with brothers. You have less cost in terms of postage and paper and physical copies. So I think there's a lot of benefits. The one where I'd say there's not as much benefit is the ritualistic experiences. I think ritual, for it to maintain its force and its the way you emphasize it, it really does need to be delivered person to person. But you can still incorporate virtual in terms of use of PowerPoint presentations for slides, videos, where again, you have somebody talking and speaking, but you're using the images on screen, the digital image, to provide more information. Like they do in the States, right? Where the back half of the degrees is often a slideshow, which is an example of using digital technology to enhance an experience. Thank you, Smokey. I appreciate that. I hope that you are doing well once again. And yeah, I'm going to keep on doing the live streams. Going to have more podcasts coming out. The Fool hand symbol is the most... Do you mean the Fool's hand from tarot? Which, interesting enough, Freemasonry and tarot have quite the connection. A friend of mine named Cameron Bailey, he's the past most worshipful Grand Master of Seattle, has done a lot of papers on Substack talking about the Fool's Hand, talking about um, um, Freemasonry and tarot in general. According to Wikipedia, because I know very little about tarot, even though I should learn more, the Fool is one of 78 cards in tarot deck. Traditionally, it is the lowest of the 22 trump cards. In tarot card reading, the 22 major arcana. However, in tarot card games, it developed to be not one of the then 21 trump cards, but a special card serving a unique purpose by itself. The Fool is titled Le Mot in the Tarot of Marseilles. The archaic words mean the madman or the beggar. In the earliest tarot decks, the Fool is usually depicted as a beggar or a vagabond. In the Visconti tarot deck, the Fool wears ragged clothes and stockings without shoes, carries a stick on his back. He has what appears to be feathers in his hair. His unruly beard and feathers may relate to the tradition of the wood rose or wild man. I don't know if the Fool in particular is connected to Freemasonry. In tarot card reading, the Fool is usually considered a part of the major arcana. The Fool's role in most games is independent of both the playing card suits and trump cards. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you for being here. It's good to have you back. It is connected to Freemason's hand signs. Well, he's got the white rose, which makes me think rose paw a little bit, but that's usually a red rose. I mean, that's going to just be a balance, Courtney, right? And Ryan, thank you for being here once again. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you will hit the like button and the subscribe button. Let me know how it's going, if there's anything that you want to talk about. I hope that you had a good Canada Day. I hope maybe you joined us for a few minutes to watch the fireworks. And if you get the chance, I hope that you'll hit the like button and the subscribe button, as always. I don't know enough about tarot to say. I had a tarot reading once, just for fun at a fair. The lady told me to watch out for women who want to take advantage of me. So, but I'll say if there's any women out there who want to take advantage of me, please do so. It's fine. I don't think they are connected. They just shout each other out. Well, the connections are like a lot of the tarot cards were themselves, to my understanding, designed by Freemasons. Let me just see. Masonic Philosophical Society. The tarot has been described as, oh, where is it? On the surface level, the tarot is a deck of 28 cards, each with its own distinct image and meaning. While many have used the cards as a divination tool, tarot cards can also present a mysterious oracle of hidden knowledge. The tarot cards are divided into two separate groups, the major arcana and the minor arcana. Where is it? Control F. Freemason. What is the relationship between tarot and Freemasonry? To begin with, there is existence of Masonic-themed tarot cards. The Square and Compass Tarot card deck, which is displayed above. Deeper connections exist as well, including the symbolic journey of the initiation to Freemasonry. The tarot has been described as symbolizing the path of initiation or a journey towards reintegration with one's true self. Know thyself is the motto of the craft. And the 22 cards of tarot's major arcana provide useful tools for reflection, for those interested in doing the work. The cards reveal stages of an archetypal journey of man, with each card representing a stage to be encountered by each individual on their life path. Sport and brotherhood. Well, we got the sport game coming up soon, Ryan. The Archer. I'll check that one out. I'm sure it's pretty cool. What does the Archer represent, Douglas? Because my aunt never said anything about being a Freemason. Well, I mean, let me see. Where'd you say that? Well, I mean, your aunt could have been not necessarily a Freemason. She could have been a member of Eastern Star or an Order of Women Freemason, or she could have just enjoyed reading tarot, right? You don't need to be a Freemason to enjoy tarot. Most people don't know there's any connection between tarot and Freemasonry. Um, and certainly, I think a lot of practitioners who read tarot cards don't know that there's any connection between the two, because the design of the cards, like who designed them, is probably not as connected as what they mean, I would assume. But that's really interesting. Hopefully this helps make you feel a bit more connected to your aunt. But certainly I've seen several cards in the tarot deck that have some connections to Freemasonry. So it's really interesting. Well, that is the hope, that with this stream we help people better understand, learn something new. So A.E. White came up with the general symbolism of the tarot deck, and he was a Freemason. It represents balance and strength, holding the bow back and accuracy when you aim to shoot a target at the heart. Balance and strength are pretty important, I would say. Okay, I mean, there can be Wiccan Freemasons. That certainly is possible. Right? I guess I don't know enough about the Wiccan faith to know to what extent it, connects with the idea of the belief in a supreme being and what that means. But I would be curious to learn more about it, that's for sure. What aspects of Freemasonry do you find? I mean, I've taught this before. What I find most meaningful is the ability for Freemasons to fight for a better world. And in the more specific sense, I would say generally lessons around temperance, lessons around, I'd say temperance, right? I've taught this before, the idea of not rushing into things, not becoming too excited when things are going well or disappointed when things are going poorly, but rather trying to maintain, at least a certain extent, a level of calmness. Actually, let's make this the next question. Hold on. I'm going to end this poll. I think that's a very Wiccan thing. I mean, again, I'm kind of out of my wheelhouse here, but I think for most Wiccans, it's this idea of believing in earth, air, fire, and water, and the ether, A-E-T-H-E-R, or the spirit. Which Masonic president do you want to learn more about? Actually, I'm going to not end my sentence with a preposition. This will be my poll question, which I will, bring up tomorrow on the stream. Which Masonic president do you want to learn more? George Washington, Gerald Ford, FDR, Theodore Roosevelt. That'll give me an idea of what to talk about on tomorrow's stream. I'll actually talk about a live stream. What inspired you to start a podcast? Well, I mean, what inspired me to start the podcast Well, we got way more votes for George Washington. What inspired me to start the podcast was a desire to explore the ways in which Freemasonry was relevant to the communities in which it's located, as well as a desire to learn more, to learn what other people think of Freemasonry, because I think that's important if we want to see the craft grow. On this particular topic being, Masonic presidents, really because 4th of July is coming up. And so I want to see if we can talk about the ways in which Freemasonry connects to July 4th and to American history. Because there's a lot more than people think. All right, let's give it a bit more time. Let's see who else joins us. We may end this stream a little bit earlier than normal because, again, this is more the Ask Us Anything stream. It was great, Ryan. It was a good July 1st. I streamed the fireworks from Assiniboia Downs. It was a lot of fun. The fireworks were very well done. It was beautiful, so it was a blast. Yeah, no, there have been, depending on who you ask, between 15 and 18 Masonic presidents. The membership is disputed. But these four, Gerald Ford was the last Masonic president, that at least everybody agrees was the last Masonic president. George Washington obviously was the first Masonic president, just the first president. Then we got FDR and we got Theodore Roosevelt. Yeah, but no, my 1st of July was great. Ryan, how was your 1st of July? I hope you had a really good one as well. We can, although the prime ministers are like much less well known. There have been 6 Masonic prime ministers. The first, John A. Macdonald. After that, it went to the last was John Diefenbaker, who actually visited the Windsor Masonic Temple. Sir Mackenzie Bowell, Sir Robert Borden. He was a Freemason during World War I. At that time, the Great War. See if we can get the list together. Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that. All right, we've got Sir John A. Macdonald, Sir John Abbott, Sir Mackenzie Bowell, Sir Robert Lard Borden, Richard Bennett, and John Diefenbaker. Richard Bennett was the prime minister basically during the Great Depression. Most people think he did not do a great job of it, unfortunately. Sir Mackenzie Bowell, Sir John Abbott, nothing special there in terms of, I can't think of anything really historical for them. Obviously, Sir Robert Borden was the prime minister during World War I. So he is actually the prime minister of a coalition government. And John Diefenbaker, he was the final prime minister who was also a Freemason, and he was prime minister from 1957 to 1963. When I was working in Ottawa, working in the office of the prime minister, I knew a few political operatives who actually worked for or worked with John Diefenbaker, including one, a lady who was actually on John Diefenbaker's train or whistle stop tour, where he'd travel around to different parts of the country by train and give a speech at the back of the train, then go to the next town. I don't know politics. Are political people engaged in deception or out? Oh, that's a tough question, Chris. I mean, I can give you my answer, which more people disagree with than agree with. I think oh my gosh, how do I put this? So there's a lot there, Chris. That, by the way, Chris, please take a moment, hit the like button. Um, there's a lot to deal with there. So you have to like define politics. You have to define what it means to be political. To whom are you referring, right? Because like being on the school board of your local town, making $10,000 a year, or doing it completely for free, and making decisions surrounding school curriculums and policies. Those are political positions, but it's very hard to see what type of deceptions they can be involved with. And then you move up to the president and you move up to Congress. Like, there's different levels of politics and who is and isn't political and how do you define it. A lot of people, I've noticed, I mean, I had this debate with people. I've spent most of my life working for the government in various forms. I worked for a legal aid clinic, then I worked as a probation parole officer, I worked in a jail. All of those jobs were completely paid for by the taxpayer, right? Completely taxpayer funded jobs. And I remember people in my job would argue about government employees. They would say things like government employees are lazy, government employees don't do any work. And when I pointed out that we were government employees, their response was always, well, but it's not, I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about the other government employees. Like, no one views themselves as working for the government, even if they do. No one views themselves as being political, even if they are. But I think most of the people who work for government, especially the people you don't ever see on television, and most of the people who are working in politics, again, especially the people you don't see on television, are in it for the right reasons and generally trying to do good. The best example of this, I think, is Charlie Wilson's War. The character of Philip Seymour Hoffman and his little merry band of CIA agents who are trying to help Charlie Wilson. I mean, none of these guys are like these big super spy espionages. They're all wearing crumpled suits. They're all sleep deprived. They're all drinking bad coffee. They're all incredibly smart and they care about things, but they're not like out there deceiving the world for riches and fame. They're eating crummy pizza. They're broke, and they're trying to make the world a better place. So I think that's a majority, and then I think there are some. I don't think they get into politics to deceive people. I think they get into politics because they think it's a way to get a lot of power or money or influence, so that they want to be a politician for 10 years, and then write a book that's a bestseller, and then spend the rest of their life just on the beach getting royalties from their book. Or they want to be a politician for 5 years and get a job at Fox News or whatever it is, right? I don't think it's that they want to get into politics to deceive people. I think they want to get into politics to find an easy way to make money and then get out of politics. And oftentimes, unfortunately, the incentives are there for that nowadays, right? The incentives have been set up in such a way that people are being encouraged to, you're a politician, you're loud, you're controversial, you're whatever it is you are, and when you get that, if you're loud enough and controversial enough, even if you don't win re-election or you get kicked out of government or whatever it is, you can just start a podcast career. You can just write a book, whatever it is, right? So I think, again, I guess what I'd say is I think there's two groups of people in politics. I think the vast majority are there to work hard and try to make things better. And I think a smaller percentage are not there to deceive. They're there to try to get as much notoriety and influence as possible so they can then go on and write a book, star in a podcast, become famous, become TV, Fox News famous, is what I think is the case. Thank you, Ryan. I enjoyed that podcast as well. Um, well, my feelings on it, I don't vote because they're all. So I don't agree with that, Smokey the Clown. I don't believe they are puppets on a string. Um, I mean, I don't think there are puppet masters, right? I think it's one of the things I've kind of working in politics for a little bit. There's too many different competing interests for there to be a single puppet master or puppet masters working in tandem, right? Because what's best for one powerful person is not what's best for the other powerful person, right? Like um what's best for Elon Musk is not necessarily what's best for Jeff Bezos, or what's best for this country. What's best for Russia is not what's best for Israel, is not what's best for Ukraine, is not what's best for Canada. Like, so there's too many different competing interests for there to be single puppet masters. That's not to say people can't be influenced by whatever it is they're influenced by. But there's no single kind of control group telling people what to do. Rather, it's competing interests. And people, to a certain extent, it's a bit like what's going first, the cart or the horse, right? Like if I grew up in a rural area in the States where there's a lot of guns and gun culture is just kind of a way of life, I may go into Congress and then say I'm pro-gun and then get a lot of money from the NRA. That doesn't mean the NRA is pulling my strings. Rather, it means the NRA is supporting me because my views line up with theirs. Which, by the way, I'm not Second Amendment guy by any means. But by the same token, if I grew up on a coastal town with, close access to water, I may join and become political because I want to save waterways, protect waterways. I may get a lot of money from environmental groups. That doesn't mean I'm a puppet to special interests. That means my predispositions line up with theirs, and they want to support me. I got a ton of boomsticks. No boomsticks. No boomsticks because the consequence of the boomstick is that the dude lost his arm, right? So, Though I guess I appreciate the what was it? The Evil Dead 3 Evil Dead 3 reference. But yeah, Ryan, I enjoy my podcast with Michelle a lot also. So interesting. How many votes we got? 6 votes. Looks like 2 for Theodore Roosevelt, 4 for George Washington. I mean, I don't play enough video games to have a gaming channel, so I don't know enough about video games to do it. I'd like to do more video games. And I definitely don't know enough about guns to do a podcast about that. I'm not a fan of guns myself. I mean, I appreciate guns for hunting, things of that nature, but I would never want to own one myself. But I do hope everybody is doing well. I hope you'll hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you are new to the channel, please let me know. Let me know how you're doing. And no boomsticks. None of that. We're all just trying our best. Even the politicians. I mean, I'm no fan of, let's say, Donald Trump. I think he's a very bad person. But, you rely on the system. You rely on governments to change. You rely on the voters to pick somebody else. Hopefully next time the person they pick is more in line with kind of what I want. I mean, I don't get to vote in the States anyways, but you know what I'm saying. And that's, I think, a Masonic idea too. The idea of you are respectful of the laws of the country in which you belong. You're respectful of the system and the process, and you work with people to make things, even if things don't go your way, to make things a success, as much of a success as you can. He seems to be trying his best to cut out all the stability from the country, unfortunately. I hope he does not succeed. But again, things will turn around. And again, I speak for myself, right? A lot of people will see this. What I say when it comes to my views on politics, whatever it is, does not apply to everybody. Many people have, many Masons enjoy or like Donald Trump. I don't get it myself, but hey, to each their own, I guess, right? Yeah, I'm happy to have less boomsticks here in Canada. Not to say there aren't any boomsticks here in Canada. There are plenty, but I'm happy to have less boomsticks in Canada, put it that way, than they have in the States. But I do hope everybody is doing well. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, Courtney. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow on the stream. It sounds like we're talking about George Washington, so obviously the American Revolution is going to come up. So as part of that, let's talk about, we'll talk about that tomorrow, probably 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might do a stream this morning, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be midnight, just for fun, just for a few minutes, just to say hello to everybody. And thank you to everybody who's been joining the streams thus far. Also, everybody who's been following me on all my other social media sites. Things are growing slowly but surely, so let's hope they keep going. And keep growing. Don't forget to support me on Patreon, etc., etc. But I hope I answered your question. Let's see. Who was it? Chris, I hope I answered your question or at least gave you my answer. Also, I could argue, and this is one of those debatable things. I do think you could argue that, I guess, the duty of a citizen, or at least the duty of a Freemason, is optimism, right? Believing that every politician is on the take, that every politician is evil, is engaged in deception. I just don't think that is helpful for society. You could argue that that's just is what it is, that the nature of such is, oftentimes what I find is people who are cynical describe themselves more often as not as realistic. Because if they'll say something like people are terrible, and then they'll say, well, I'm just being realistic. What they're being is cynical. Having said that, I'm a pretty cynical fellow myself, so, or at least I can be at times. I'm gonna give it a bit more time to see if anybody else jumps on the chat to say hello. If not, we'll probably end this. I'm doing well, Ryan. I hope you're doing well also. I hope that you had a fun coffee club on Canada Day. I hope that Canada in general treated everybody well. Unfortunately, let me see if I can find it. We did just learn of a loss of a brother in Windsor. Good. Decent turnout of people. Decent turnout of Masons. I appreciate that. I am here, like I said, in Windsor in Winnipeg, visiting family, and then tomorrow I'm still here, and then Friday I'm traveling to flying to Ottawa Friday morning. Then I'm in Montreal for a wrestling show, which is going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it very much. Good, good. Thank you, Smokey. Yeah, he was a really good dude. So I haven't been able to find his. I want to share his obituary on not my site, but the Essex District Facebook page. But I haven't found it. Which, by the way, if you're part of a Masonic district and you don't have a Facebook page, you should get one. They're free. You can set them to private, and more importantly than that, they give you a chance to make announcements as to things that are going on. You can post obituaries, all that good jazz. Good. I hope that you will keep on hanging in there, Courtney and Ryan. I'm glad that you are doing well as well. And thank you, Smokey, for your kind words. Thank you. Yeah, I mean the loss of a brother is always sucks, but it's also part of life, right? It's also part of what we go through as Freemasons. And so hopefully you get your chance to attend your Masonic funerals if you're a Mason, which is, it's for us to honor the brother, but more than anything else, it's for us to care about or care for our brothers, right? Our brothers' family in particular. They get to see things, right? They get to see our brothers. They get to see their dad, their brother, their whomever it is, their son. They get to see his brothers. They get to see how much we cared for them. And it could be, not to be crass about it, but it can be some pretty decent, pretty good advertisement for the Masonic lodges as well. So, yeah, it's really, really, it's a tough thing, but it's also a moving thing. And not everybody can make every funeral. I understand that completely. But if you can make a funeral, then it's a good thing to do. What is a Michael Jordan ritual? I'm very curious. I feel like this is set up for a joke. Um, because I feel like you're setting me up for some type of joke for sure. So, what is the Michael Jordan ritual? Let's hear it. It'd be great to get a sports league going. I think that'd be awesome. Like I said, the place to start would be invite people out to the August 30th Windsor game. I forget where it's taking place now. I can send you the link so you know where it's taking place. But I think it'd be wonderful to start there and then move forward, and then see if we can get some more people taking part. Because I agree with you 100%. It would be a great way to build relationships and get men more involved, which is what you want, right? Freemasonry is about relationships. A basketball dribble, but we'd have to get Masonic lodges to install basketball hoops. They could do it in the parking lots, I suppose, right? Which might be the key. I mean, a lot of times Masons Like one thing I always really enjoyed was seeing on TV shows, like on ER, they had a whatchamacallit, they had like a basketball net just in the front of the building, and sometimes characters would go out to play basketball, which I could see that on a stressful job like that. It's nice to have a place to go to unwind. Certainly, I think for Freemasons, they can get pretty stressful. It's nice to have a place to go, shoot some hoops, take your mind off of it, all that good stuff. I love wrestling too, but I don't know if we could do. I don't know if we could have a Masonic Wrestling League first because I get my ass kicked by half the guys, which I'm sure they would enjoy kicking my ass, but I wouldn't enjoy it very much, or more like 75 to 90% of the guys. And second, there might be some liability issues. So maybe not Masonic Wrestling, though I appreciate the sentiment, but certainly Masonic Baseball, Masonic Fishing. I could see both of those. I don't know if you guys have anything that you're looking forward to outside of Freemasonry. Again, tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit more about Freemasonry and the American Revolution, or George Washington, because right now he is the winning vote. You still have time if you want to vote on something else, but you're running out of it. So take a few minutes, jump in the vote. Otherwise, it looks like it will be George Washington. And no love for Brother Gerald Ford or Brother FDR. Gerald Ford doesn't surprise me, but I figured a few more people might put in for FDR. Oh, yeah, I think honestly, if I were you, instead of starting with a Masonic sports team or a sports league, I would start with a Masonic fishing league. I think you get a lot of people interested in that. I think it'd be relatively easy to set up. Relatively, it'd still be work, but you'd have to look at maybe renting a cabin, organizing a trip, getting people sent out, all that good jazz. So that's my opinion on that, for whatever it's worth. Thank you for the other another like. I hope that you guys will also hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and I hope that you guys are having a great, great day. I'm gonna try to come on tonight. In the meantime, though, let's give it another 5 minutes as anybody else jumps on. Oh, we got an FDR vote. There you go. So somebody's showing some love for FDR, though he's still in third place at the moment, only ahead of Gerald Ford, Brother Gerald Ford, who has 0 votes. It's good. I got a show in Montreal and then I got a show in Essex. So it's going to be a long, long night, a long drive from Montreal back to Essex, which is basically in Windsor or next to Windsor, but it's going to be a lot of fun too. So I'm enjoying it. Oh, FDR coming back. Looks like we got 4 votes. 2 for George Washington, 1 for FDR. Or no, how many votes do we got? 6 votes or more. Hold on one sec. 8 votes. 2 for FDR, 2 for Theodore Roosevelt, 4 for George Washington. All right. Let's give it another, like I said, 2 minutes or so to see if anyone else jumps on. Anybody else wants to give one more chance to hit that like and subscribe button. Otherwise, we're going to call this stream for now. All right, well, if I had to pick a team to cheer for, it would be Texas out of those two, because I've been to Texas, never been to Baltimore. So let's go Texas. Keep up the good work. Ryan McKee would also cheer for Texas. There you go. But yeah, Ryan, like if you started with a Masonic Fishing League, I would happily help you out with that. And I'd go to it. Like I said, you can rent a cabin easily enough, and I'm sure it'd be a lot of fun. And by all means, you could even invite non-Masons to take part. Maybe they like to fish, and in the process, they can learn more about Freemasonry. So that'd be the really fun part, right? All right, later, guys. Thank you. I just a couple people jumped on quickly, so I'll give them a minute just to say if they want to jump in the chat. All right. I think we'll call this stream then for today. Thank you guys for joining. It was a lot of fun. I will see you all potentially tonight, but if not tomorrow, 1 p.m., we'll talk about Freemasonry and George Washington. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day and bye for now.